So hi everyone, my name is Diana, and today in class number 9, I didn't get for any student for the group, um, for one of the groups, and I'm gonna share with you uh, the class that was for today. So, the first thing is that the topic is about perfect tenses, and we're gonna talk about what you have done, had done, and will have done. To start the class, we have a warm-up activity where I will ask the students some questions and they need to use or try to use present perfect to answer. The questions are: have you ever traveled to a different country? What is something you have done recently that made you happy? Have you finished your homework? And when they finish, and that we talk about what we're gonna see in class, uh, then it comes an activity to see what the student knows about the topic. And before we do this activity where the student needs to match in the sentence the perfect or also use a perfect tense. It says, look at this sentence and guess the correct perfect tense. So I have gone to the gym every day would be the perfect, like the right answer. And in this case would be a present perfect. Then it comes the topic explanation, and where I ask the student first what are perfect tenses or what they know about it. So I explain them that we use them to show a completion or a result of action, of any action. We use the auxiliary verb have, has, had, or will have. And we use them in with common expressions like already, just, by the time, before, and so on. And then it comes the explanation about the three uh, ways. But because it's too much in one class, I try to tell them that the idea is to practice and they can use any kind of perfect tense that they want. And so I'm gonna explain really short what is each of them about. The first one is present perfect structure, and then for this one, the grammar rule is subject always have or has, and then past participle. An advice or a tip is that we in all, also in present perfect, in past perfect, and in future perfect, we always gonna use past participle. So the only thing that changed is the auxiliary. So in present perfect, we always gonna use have, or if we are talking about the person, has. So she, he, or it, always with have. Then we have an example. I have eaten sushi. She has finished her homework. When we use it for actions that started in the past and are still true now, as relevant to the present, or for experience at any time in life without specifying when, or for actions that have just finished or happened recently. So for example, I have eaten sushi is an action in life, something that happens, also that happened, but it doesn't specify when, like it has no time specified. Or she has finished her homework. It's an action that is recently completed. Now we have past perfect. Yeah, I think I had internet problems. I hope it's working now. Um, okay, so yeah, so we use had as I said before. The examples are I had left when she arrived, or they had seen the movie before. When we use it for actions that were completed before another action in the past, or used to show the order of events in the past. So, I had left when she arrived is an action that was completed before the other in the past. So we have two actions, when he left and when she arrived. These two actions, but the first one happened before the other. So he left, and when she arrived, he already left. Okay. They had seen the movie before. It's an action completed before a past time. And now we have future perfect tense. And the structure is, again, we use always past participle. And we always gonna use will and have. It doesn't matter if we are talking about third person like she, he, or it, we always gonna use have. And another thing that I forgot to say is that we need to remember that when we use past participle, we also have irregular verbs, and there are some verbs that we need to remember in order to use them. Right. And the example is, I will have graduated by next year, or she will have finished the book before Monday. We use it for actions that will be completed before a specific time in the future, or to talk about something that will have happened by a certain future moment. Okay, so for example, I will have graduated by next year. That means this action needs or will be completed before next year. Something that you are sure that it will be completed before next year. And she will have finished the book before Monday. It's an action completed before a future moment. That means before Monday. And that's the whole explanation. After explanation, we have a real short activity where they need to write sentences. It says use these words to build a sentence with a perfect tense. So they get these random words, who, finish, or yesterday, and they need to complete the sentences but using perfect tense. So for example, a tip that I give them is that if they see words like yesterday or already or last week, then we are talking about past perfect tense. And so you can use, you know where to use, which tense to use. And they can create any kind of sentence they want, only with these words and perfect tense. They write it down on the chat, then we make some feedback and we share commentaries. Then we have a role play activity. where they're gonna be a journalist. Each student is gonna be a journalist, and they're gonna talk about, so they're gonna create a story. But we're gonna talk about it. We're not gonna write it, we're gonna practice speak. In this story, they need to tell what has happened, what had happened before the news broke, and what will have happened by the time it airs. So they're gonna have to use perfect, present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. It comes an example so they know how to do it. The example is the game has just ended and the crowd is celebrating the victory. That is the present perfect. Before the game, the team had been practicing for months and the players had trained every day. That is past perfect. And now we have future perfect. By the time this report airs, the stadium will have cleared out and the fans will have gone home. And that is, I give them some time, like 5 minutes. Maybe they want to write it down to keep it themselves. And then when they finish after 5 minutes, I ask each of them about it, and they need to pretend they're a journalist, and they need to tell to all our classmates about their. After this activity, okay, here are these are the structures to make the last activity. They need to imagine you are a journalist at a big event. Second, use the present perfect to describe what has just happened or what's currently relevant. The third thing is to use the past perfect to describe things that had already happened before the event or the news came out. And then the fourth is use the future perfect to describe what will have happened by the time the news is broadcasted. After the activity, it comes also kind of like a role play activity, another one, but this one is different because they need to choose a role by themselves. They can be an astronaut, a chef, or a traveler, how they want. They need to ask and answer 3 questions using present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. So this is like an interview. They need to be in pairs, and each of them is gonna choose a role. So one student A is gonna choose, for example, a person who has lived in 10 countries. And a student 10, a student B is gonna choose a chef who has cooked for presidents. So they need to think up and be their role. And so they need to be this person, they need to be a chef, they need to be a chef influencer or famous or a time traveler, and so on. And what they need to do is that they're gonna ask his or her classmate questions. These questions need to be they need to use present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. So let's say that student A is an astronaut. So student B is gonna ask the first question, what have you discovered on your space mission? Student A needs to answer using, of course, present perfect. Then comes question number 2. What had you learned before your first mission to Mars? That is using past perfect. And it means that student A needs to answer using past perfect. And then we have future perfect. And student B asks, what will you have achieved by the end of your space program? And it's a student A needs to answer. So by the end of when I finish my space program, I will have gain so much money. Also, they can make whatever they want up, but they need to answer as if they were an astronaut. When we finish this activity, we're gonna play an activity that is called Build the Story. They need to add a sentence with a perfect tense to build the cluster. So one student is gonna start. For this activity, we use Slido or Slido, and the idea is that we create a story only using past perfect. Past also it doesn't matter. Also past perfect or present or future, and then here the student can comment, and then we will get a story at the end when everyone already participates. This is just to practice because now it comes a time to talk more. And in this case, the student has 3 pictures. The activity is called 3 pictures, 3 fences. And the student, each of them needs to choose not to choose, sorry. They need to look at the pictures first and think uh, about a sentence per tense. So the first one, the first picture, they can use a present perfect. For the second one, past perfect. And then for the fourth one, future perfect. And the sentence needs to be related with the pictures. And they cannot be the same as the classmates' sentences. Then it comes a part where they need to write down a letter to their future self. So the student write a short letter using a present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. They need to include dreams, goals, and past experiences. For this, we use what's the name of this? I'm gonna open Padlet. We use Padlet. The student they get an example that means, dear future me, I have learned so much about life and myself in the past few years. Present perfect. Now, past perfect. Before I moved to a new country, I had finished my degree and gained work experience. That means something happened before the other action happened. Now it comes, we have or a picture perfect. So by the time you read this, I hope you will have traveled the world and written your first book. Love me. This is just an example. And in the last class, I got 2 students that they wrote these are the letters. One wrote down, I have started with dedication every day. Before starting this journey, I had dreamed of becoming a teacher. By the time you read this, you will have finished your degree and become an amazing teacher. Keep going, regrets, Jane. And this is another example. This is what another student wrote down for my last class. And she wrote down, Dear future Luna, I have made some mistakes, but it has been also a learning process. I had finished my research project before I graduated, so I have almost become a teacher. I truly hope that by the time you read this letter, you will have gained some experience in your field. Okay? It misses some words and so, but it's really good. And I told her that do not worry about the mistakes, that she made a really good text. The idea is to practice. And yeah, when they finish this, I hope that they already know how, like the difference between the 3 tenses, kind of tenses. So now it comes like a timeline challenge, and the student needs to share three events from their life, from his or her life, and use each perfect tense once. So the idea is that they talk, each of them talk for 2 or 3 minutes, and yeah, use at least also three sentences, also one per tense, perfect tense. So this is an example. I have completed 2 English courses. That is present perfect. Then I had studied French before, past perfect, and I will have passed my exam by next year, future perfect. So they need to tell me, they need to talk about it, and when it's gone, then as when it's finished, then we conclude with the class. Yeah, then we talk about what they like, what they like about the class, what they learn new, or if they want to improve, or they if it was difficult for them. That was the class. That was it. So thank you for watching this video. I'm gonna close.